Alright, so we're back once again, and today, as you can probably see, we're playing as Smolensk. And well, usually a video on Smolensk would be enough in and of itself, but today I wanted to talk about something completely different. And, well, if you've seen the thumbnail, you'll probably already know what it is. It's cyclones, and cyclones in World of Warships, one of the most obnoxious things in the game. Usually I'm not one to complain, as you can see from my previous videos, but cyclones hit a really sore spot for me, generally just because of the fact that they limit the ability to actually play the game in such a fundamental way that it makes me curious as to why they were ever introduced into the game in the first place. But let me give a little bit more context on what's actually happening on the screen first, and then we'll get into more of a cyclone in-depth discussion. So as you can probably see, on my side of the map, I'm basically holding A by myself. The enemy team does have the Moskva, the Republic, the Thunder and the Yamato on our flank, and we only have two Kurfürsts and the Yamato. And it's really curious because, well, the Moskva could just push me off this island, as holy moly, that was really close. I could have been detonated right there if I didn't have my detonation flag. But either way, the Moskva could very easily control A. If he just pushed into a nearby island, radared, boom, I'm either spotted or I don't get spotted, but I'm pushed off the island and they get the cap basically for free. But that doesn't happen, as is things in World of Warships, and instead for some reason they all decide to run away. Which is curious, because they just spent the first 5 minutes of the battle getting into this position and now they're running away from it. Anyways, as these things happen in World of Warships, I see my opportunity to push A. And as I do, I look over at the little icon on the screen and realise that there's a cyclone coming in 2 minutes. And what this effectively means for me is that the game ends in 2 minutes, because one thing's for sure, if you're playing a very, 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 very squishy cruiser, like the Smolensk, like the Minotaur, like the Chapayev, like any of those type of cruisers, cyclones, let's put it lightly, they aren't your best friend, and you better hope you have ship insurance, because otherwise it's going to end very badly for you. And when I say ship insurance, I mean premium time, because basically if you don't do enough damage before the cyclone actually arrives, well then that's all the damage you're going to do for the game, and if you do a low amount, you're going to basically be losing credits. But that's just a random discussion for a different time. The more I think about cyclones, the more they tend to be worthless. I can't think of a single good idea or good application of a cyclone in a game that will actually make it more enjoyable for the people involved. Now, that's not, someone will probably leave a comment below saying, well, what about this situation in particular? And they'll list a situation that happens maybe once every 100 games. But you're welcome to try. I'll probably respond. Anyways, the main issues I see with cyclones are, 1, they limit visibility to 8 kilometers. So if you're not playing a tanky ship like a BB, like for instance the Yamato, or something like the Kurfürst or the Kremlin, I would say the Thunder, but the Thunder is a deceptively squishy battleship. It really can't handle all that much focus fire, which at 8 kilometers you're going to be getting a hell of a lot of. And well, if you're playing a cruiser, it's basically the worst of both worlds, because you don't have the agility and even the torp power of a DD, but you also don't have the gun power of a BB. So cyclones just basically end the game for you. Now, and then again, DDs, they can play around it to an extent, but if a battleship sees a cyclone coming, they load up HE, you're going to have a really, really bad time. Best case scenario, you one-shot them with your torps. Worst case scenario, they one-shot you with their HE. Now, as you can see, cyclone started, 22 kilometers, and well, I'm going to give an impression of what a cyclone is basically like. It's not what it seems like on the screen, but here's what I think of when I see a cyclone coming. Yep, that's right. Basically, it limits the screen to the ship. You can't see anything, you don't even know what's happening, and well, the minimap basically is your new best friend, and in order to hit ships, I basically have to look at the minimap. If a ship gets spotted by another ship within 8 kilometers, then I have to look where the little circle is on the minimap and try and hit it by using that, which is the only thing I've found that circumvents the absolute game-breaking necessity of cyclones. And, well, you may be thinking, well, come on, it's spotted at 22 kilometers, it's 11 minutes into the game. It's not that bad, it's not that game-breaking, it's not that destructive to the overall gameplay. But so much of the game, the initial 5 minutes, is about positioning, getting into position, and being able to push your advantage when it comes. And when that clock hits 11, 10, 9, maybe even 12 minutes, that's the position, or that's the point in time where you need to, that's where all the action happens. That's when you need to push your advantage or switch to a more defensive mindset. That's when the major decisions in the game, that's when the major volleys start happening. That's when ships start getting into that 14, 13, 12 kilometer range. And it's a really important time in the game. Now, if something happens and, well, the detection range goes down to 8 kilometers, that eliminates all that build-up play. It eliminates all strategy. It eliminates all positioning. It eliminates your ability to even enact a strategy. And to an extent, it removes basically all the skill involved in playing World of Warships, which is a very curious thing because I can't think of another game that does this. Now, obviously, World of Warships isn't a competitive game, but at the same time, you can't help but wonder, is this an intentional dumbing down of the game to like appease the player base, or is it something else? And I think this speaks to a broader trend too at the same time. Over the past 6 months to a year, I would say, I find that the games get much more swingy, and even the last couple of days, they've been the worst they've ever been for me. Games that were literally over 17 minutes into the game, where like 3 ships would just die instantly, usually by YOLO pushing or whatever. And I feel like this isn't improving to an extent. And I think that having things like cyclones in the game do nothing but just to encourage this way of playing, this kind of YOLO-y, kind of no skill involved, lack of enjoyment kind of gameplay. Which sure might be fun once in a while, and you may think I'm just being, a little bit over dramatic to an extent with how often this happens, but I've had them a good few in the last couple of days. And so that's why I'm making this video, but at the same time I think it speaks to a broader issue of, is the player base going to improve by having these things in the game? I don't think so. Again, you're free to disagree, leave a comment below explaining your position, and again, I might respond. But where this game ends is basically with me doing 72,000 damage, 73,000 damage, and if you'll notice, and if you're observant from the start of the game, I basically did the vast majority of that damage when the cyclone wasn't here. And if you look at the ships currently on the map, I could have done a hell of a lot more damage. A hell of a lot more damage. Oh my god, that could have so easily been. Thank god for the Smolensk and overpens. I could have easily probably doubled that damage at least by now, if the cyclone wasn't in place. So I feel as though I'm being punished randomly for something outside of my control. And when you implement something like that into a game, it's very, very dangerous, because you're going to alienate your player base to slowly but surely, and people are going to stop playing. Obviously I'm not at that point yet, but I just really, really want to stress how just unfun cyclones are, and well, I don't see the point in them. I guess that's the main issue. That's the main point of the video. Towards the end of this, I basically make a mistake and get one shot. Well, 2 shot actually, but that's besides the point. And well, oh, and one more point actually. One more point before I go. The cyclone wouldn't be too bad if you could time when it ends. Obviously you can in your head, but if they could have a little indicator that shows the counting down to when it ends, that would be very much appreciated. Because I think they end at the 6-minute mark. I wasn't aware of this, so when you see how I die, it's going to be very, very interesting. Because just as I pull out of my smoke, the cyclone lifts and the enemy gets a beautiful shot at a beautiful Smolensk. So with that being said, we're going to cut to the ending because I've run out of things to say, and until the next rant video, I'll see you all in the next one.